¿Qué pasa, YouTube? AK, what's up, YouTube? Welcome to the draft analysis for the ICP lower tier draft league. Yes, this is a draft analysis for another draft league. Now, if you guys are wondering about the embassy, if you guys have not watched that yet, then I will be spoiling what happened in that league. So if you don't want to know what happened, then pause this, check that out, and come back to this video because I will be spoiling it here in 3, 2, 1. Unfortunately, we did lose in the second round of playoffs for the NBC in a nail biter of a game, and one hell of a game as well. So if you guys haven't checked that out, definitely go ahead and do so. And I'm not gonna lie, I didn't expect ICP to start immediately after NBC or potentially during NBC of playoffs, but hey, that's just how it turned out. So yeah, here we are with another chance to win a chip in Generation 9. And if you guys who are experienced in lower tier draft league or who have done well in draft leagues are interested in helping me out this season of the ICP, leave your Discord down below and I will hit you up and you guys can join my front office to help win that Gen 9 championship, because I would like some more support throughout this season, and the people that I do have helping me also help out other people, so they're not always available. So yeah, let me know your Discord in the comment section below. So going into this draft league, there are 12 coaches in the draft pool, which means drafts are going to be more than likely really crazy because that is a small draft pool, and lower tier things are definitely valued differently. Fairies and steals along with dragons are a very high value because they are limited in this format, and we were pick number 9 out of 12, which kind of sucks because we would not be getting any of the really broken like fairies or steel types more than likely. But another type that is also very valuable in lower tier is fighting types, and luckily the main fighting type that I wanted actually ended up falling to us in pick number 9, and that is going to be Manchow. This is a great physically offensive threat. It does have some decent specially offensive moves as well as being just an amazing scarfer and potential breaker thanks to its ability to run Regenerator and a life orb very effectively. So I am pretty excited to use Manchow. It's a mod I've never really used previously in draft, so we'll see how it goes. Our next pick is going to be our first Terra Captain and a high point Terra Captain, because we had 11 points for 2 Terra Captains. This Terra Captain ended up being a 10 points, which means we are basically forced into getting a 1-pointer that needs a Terra, but there was one main Terra for 1 point that I was really eyeing, and we'll get to that later. So our 10-point Terra Captain is going to be a mon that my boy Harris was pushing for, and that is going to be Meloetta. Now this is not Terra preview, so Terra Captains don't have free Terra. They have a stab and 2 other Terra types. So we have Terra Meloetta with Terra Normal, Fairy, and Ground. Ground and Fairy just gives it some coverage and extra power in those moves. Actually, I think it gets Dazzling Gleam anyways, right? Yeah, it gets Dazzling Gleam anyways in Play Rough. What am I talking about coverage? I think I was just thinking of Terra Ground. Terra Blast, which is pretty cool because we can hit steel types with that, which is really nice. We also do have access to a Relic Song, so we can use its Pirouette form potentially, so that could be pretty fun to mess around with this season. Now, as I mentioned earlier, steals, fairies, and dragons are very valuable in lower tier formats, so we decided to get 2 of those 3 in the form of Tinkaton, giving us our first stealth rocker as well as just a really good supportive mon in general with knockoff, Encore, Thunderwave, even dual screens, and Swords Dance Gigaton Hammer absolutely murders everything that is not resisted. So yeah, Tinkaton being my absolute favorite Pokemon in Generation 9, I'm definitely excited to try it out here in this format. Our next mon is going to be a mon that in normal format I've seen recently do a lot of work, which means in lower tier format it's going to be extremely difficult to take down, and that is going to be Mandibuzz. It gives us a form of removal in a defog, and I'm not gonna lie, This, unfortunately, is our only removal on this draft, so bit of a spoiler there. But the main selling point of Mandibuzz was its roll compression, being able to pivot in and out and just be a very tanky mon, as well as being one of the few non-poison types to get access to Toxic, which would definitely come in handy. So speaking of poison types that can learn Toxic, I wanted something that was speedy and that hit hard, and one mon that I used previously in a lower tier draft is going to be Salazzle. Salazzle is a pretty cool mon with corrosion. We are literally able to Toxic everything and anything, and it's going to take damage. Outside of Pokemon with Magic Guard, poison types can be Toxic by Salazzle, and so can steel types. So that's actually really good, because if we do run into those pesky steel or poison types, we can just Toxic them with Salazzle and go from there. Not to mention that it does have access to Nasty Plot, being able to hit pretty hard on the special side, whether it's Fire Stab and Poison Stab. While its coverage is not necessarily the best, it's really not that big of an issue, because that's why we have the rest of our draft to be able to help out Salazzle. I mainly just wanted this for the speed tier and its special offensive prowess. So our next mon is going to be a mon, again, with a couple bit of roll compressions, and for very good value, that is going to be Lantern. It gives us a water type, electric type, and a mon with momentum, which is really great, also being one of the few water types with access to Scald. As we know, Scald is an absolutely broken move if a draft is not properly prepared for it. It did lose access to Heal Bell, if I'm not mistaken, so that kind of sucks, but that's not really neither here nor there. This actually pairs up really well with Mandibuzz, because it can eat those annoying ice and electric type hits. And at this point I realized, okay, I have 6 mons, I need more hazards, I need specific types in like grass, ghost, dark, I need another Terra Captain. There is a lot of things I need at this point in the draft, and there was one mon for the value that I thought would be really nice to have, and that is going to be Quilladin. This gives us a grass type as well as a spiker to pair with our stealth rocking Tinkaton, which is really nice because I've seen Quilladin this generation do well in normal drafts and even in Uber drafts. So I figured, hey, in lower tier drafts for 3 points, this could actually be pretty nice. It has access to some decent setup with bulk up and curse, I guess, if I want to go down that route, because it does get access to gyro ball, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, right here, as you can see. So for the value and the roll compression, I thought this would be pretty good. Overgrown, bulletproof, also to just really handy abilities in my opinion. Our next mon is another mon with hazards, and that is going to be Golurk, being another form of stealth rocker along with Tinkaton. That way we can switch between the two, and between Golurk and Tinkaton, I'm pretty sure that one or the other will always be able to run rocks. So I'm okay with this and Quilladin being our form of hazards. Plus Golurk gives us a physically offensive threat with base 124 physical attack, not to mention that its type coverage is really amazing, man. Elemental punches, Edgequake, Ghost Stab, something other than that, I don't know. There are some cool things that we could do with Golurk, I think, this season. So at this point, we only had a couple points left, and there wasn't really entirely too much that I needed. I needed a 1-point Terra Captain and then just whatever, really. So the 1-point Terra Captain I figured I could get after this round, and I decided to go with a 3-point Meowstic here for this round. Now Meowstic was a little bit interesting. I was between this and another 3-pointer, but the main selling point of Meowstic is that it gets access to Prankster in the male form, and in the female form it gets access to competitive. So those are two just really good abilities, and we get access to both male and female in this league. So there are different things that this could do. So for 3 points, I thought it was pretty nice. Its special coverage, while not amazing, it's also not entirely too bad, and it does have access to a lot of really nice supported moves. So I could definitely see a Meowstic come into some games potentially this season. Speaking of our 1-point Terra, we had 2 points at this round in the league, and I decided to go with 1 Point Duosion. Now initially I wanted 1 Point Hatterene as our Terra captain. Unfortunately though, that got picked earlier in the draft, and this was more or less my backup pick for a 1 Point Terra with base 125 special attack. It is still an absolute beast. Our Terras are Psychic, Fairy, and Fighting. This also gives us a pseudo regenerator core with a Mancha, because it does get access to Regenerator, which in itself is just an amazing ability. So hey, if we do bring Duosion this season, then hopefully he can put in some work. And then our final 1 Pointer is just going to be Cutifly, which is literally just here for sticky webs. We have a Ghost type in Golurk for Rapid Spin, and with Meowstic female, we have Competitive to punish Defoggers. So hey, there could be some good matchups where webs could definitely come to this season. So yeah, that is going to be our draft for this season of the ICP. As you can see here, this is kind of the overview of the draft. While it may not be absolutely amazing, I'm pretty happy with it. We have a couple different modes we could run with this draft. So depending on how the season goes, this could be our championship winning draft, or I might do what I did in NBC and just gut the entire draft by week 3 and completely change it up. I don't know, but again, if you are experienced in lower tier draft leagues and would like to help me win a championship this season, leave your Discord down below and I might hit you up to join the front office. And with that being said, leave a like, leave a comment, let me know what you think of the draft, and I will see you all next Sunday with our week 1 battles. So yeah, thank you all for watching. Later, everybody.